right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro rolling out hour number 3 on a Monday. Quick reminder, tomorrow on the show, we'll get to UNLV football, but UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez will be joining us tomorrow. Talk about a nice win against Vandy, 34-10. We'll get to that here in just a few minutes. And also, Seth Moulton, former Democratic presidential candidate, will join us. He's won medals at war. He is a war hero, and he has some strong opinions when it comes to this withdrawal of troops from Syria. So Seth Moulton will be joining us on the show tomorrow as well. So jam-packed show for you tomorrow. As I said, we'll get to UNLV and some Major League Baseball stuff. But I want to start with OJ. That's right. O.J. Simpson back in the news. As you know, he calls Las Vegas his home, and he makes these videos on social media from time to time. I don't know where he's watching these football games on Sunday, but it looks like he's like sitting there at some local restaurant here. I've seen him all over town at Moondoggies and all these local bars. I've seen him a few times watching games, and he goes all over Vegas, sometimes wearing football jerseys. So O.J. Simpson has talks a lot. He gives people fantasy football picks and stuff like this. So here's O.J. Simpson analyzing some of the football games last night.
Hey, Twitter world, yours truly. Well, things are getting clearer now. We now know for sure that the Rams aren't who we thought they were. I think Belichick showed everybody, teams with talent, how to play the Rams. 7 points? Come on. They had another game with like 3 points or something. The game behind us is not over, but it appears no matter how it ends, maybe the Cowboys are not who we thought they were. And for all of us who were cheering, the Cleveland Browns are definitely not who we thought they were. If they're your teams, sorry. Just saying. Take care.
If they're your team, sorry. Just saying. By the way, OJ, you are not who I thought you were. I thought you were a guy that belongs on death row. You're not who I thought you were. I didn't think you were a guy that should have been sipping wine in your backyard and playing golf every day. You're not who I thought you were. You decapitated 2 people, including your ex-wife. You belong behind bars for the rest of your life. You're not who I thought you were. It makes
They're your teams. Sorry. Just saying.
I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you make of that? You think O.J. Simpson has a career on TV? You think somebody's going to hire him?
I think he needs to work on his background sound.
What do you think? You think one of these TV networks are going to hire him?
He doesn't have proper venues. That's actually possible. I could see some.
Are you kidding me? Really?
I could see someone picking him up.
I was joking. You're serious?
If OJ was hired by a TV network, it would increase ratings by a lot, and they're aware of that. Obviously, he's looking to go that route. His insight isn't exactly. It's not exactly an epiphany. It's not revolutionary by any means, but he knows what he's talking about to a degree. I think that the Jets aren't who we thought they were. I think they're a lot better. I don't think the Cowboys are that bad. The Cowboys have actually, I think they're a pretty decent squad. The Browns are missing both their corners, Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams. Once those guys get back, along with Myles Garrett, who's got 9 sacks despite the fact that his corners literally they cannot stop the pass. And I think Russell Wilson is an outstanding quarterback. But yeah, the Rams, Belichick showed the country exactly how to play golf, and golf cannot handle pressure. And you knew that watching the Super Bowl.
Well, look at that.
So I'll agree. You went 1 for 3, OJ. Well done.
Well, how about that? O.J. Simpson leading us into analyzing an NFL weekend.
Fair enough. But I do think this is the route that he wants to go, and someone will give him an opportunity.
I hope they don't.
Hey, let's be honest. We would have him on the show.
Of course I would.
We totally would.
Of course I would. Doesn't mean I don't think he's a scumbag, but of course. Doesn't mean I don't think he's a double murderer. I would interview Scott Peterson from behind bars, not the Scott Peterson from Parkland School. I'm talking about the Scott Peterson who murdered his wife and unborn child. I would interview him.
You know who I want to interview? I want to interview Tony Carleo, who did the
Bellagio Bandit.
The Bellagio Bandit, who I believe is out of prison in a couple of months.
That would be an interesting interview.
That would be a great interview.
I actually feel sorry for him because really the only person he hurt was himself. But that would be an interesting interview. I agree with that. Since we are talking about football, we haven't talked a lot of UNLV football, and the reason why we haven't is because they've been horrible the last several weeks. Let's just be honest. They've underachieved. But I said 3 weeks ago that you need to start this freshman, Oblad. And there are writers in this town, I won't mention names, but there are some writers in this town and members of the quote-unquote media that said Armani Rogers gives you the best chance to win. Well, Armani Rogers was hurt over the weekend. So this kid Oblad, who went to high school here, I said, listen, he's got a good arm. He's going to get better. He's very young. Give him a chance. Well, he did something that the UNLV football program has been unable to do in 11 years. JD, do you know what that is?
Win a road game against a Power 5 opponent.
Yes. That's a big deal. Now, don't get me wrong. Vanderbilt is awful. They are a terrible football team. Terrible. But you still have to win the football game on the road. And Oblad was very, very good. He threw the ball well. He made one minor mistake with like 4 or 5 minutes to go, but at that point they were already up 34-10.
He's a redshirt freshman. Redshirt freshmen make minor mistakes.
But he didn't make any big mistakes, and he did what he needed to do for his team to come out ahead and win the football game. He threw the ball well. He took care of the football, and I've said it a million times. I think you need to play Oblad the rest of the season.
I'm going to call him Sunshine because it reminds me of Sunshine from Remember the Titans. But he actually has a really big arm. And UNLV has 5 or 6 weapons. They have wide receivers that have been in the program for a couple of years, along with a younger guy in Steve Jenkins. They have a couple guys that can catch the ball in that running game, especially with Magyar back and that big brawny offensive line. They're going to be tough to stop for honestly probably anybody on the remaining of their schedule.
But with this being said, they're still not making a bowl game. Do you think this win can do anything for Tony Sanchez? And look, I don't want to be disrespectful to him tomorrow, so I wouldn't ask him that question because, again, we always appreciate when he comes on. But in my opinion, I think Tony is behind the 8 ball here. He's in a lot of trouble. His job is in jeoprdy. I think that's very fair to say.
They finished against Nevada, San Jose State. They have Fresno State this upcoming weekend. The spread in that game is 14.5. It's in Fresno. I believe that they will cover that spread, and I think they have a chance to win that game.
You think they can beat Fresno on the road?
I think they have a chance to win that game.
That's Friday night, by the way.
Jorge Reyna is not a very good quarterback. Their offense isn't what it was last year. UNLV with Oblad playing well, they're actually relatively balanced. And
their defense was very good.
And again, they have that big offensive line. I think they have a chance to win that game. Is it possible that UNLV goes 6-6 to finish the year? They've got Hawaii, San Jose State, Nevada, Fresno State, and I can't think of who the other opponent is.
So you're not counting them out.
I'm not completely counting them out. I think there's a chance that this happens. And if it does, if they make a bowl game, more power to them. Because Sanchez has that relationship with the Fertittas, and that $15 million practice facility is going to be open very soon.
Well, let me be clear. I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too.
But I think you're wrong.
I'm saying there's. Let me put it this way. If I had the odds, I would probably say -300 no, +240 yes.
Okay, so for people that have no idea what you're talking about, that means what JD is saying is that he'd put UNLV at 2.5 to 1, maybe 2 to 1 that they make a bowl game, maybe 3 to 1.
I would say there's probably a 33 to 35%,
which
chance.
Isn't bad, because if you asked me that last week, I would have called you crazy. But
I would have called myself crazy.
Yeah, but the fact that they were able to beat this team on the road, I think. Listen, you never know what's going to happen. I think Oblad now has some confidence. Sanchez made a good point that playing Oblad against Boise State, playing against one of the better teams in the country. It showed him what he needs to work on, what he needs to do, and I think it gave him a lot of confidence.
That was a smart decision because Boise State has the best pass rusher in the country in Curtis Weaver.
Well,
and he got to him 3 times.
It wasn't a decision, though. I don't want to give Tony Sanchez credit for that. It wasn't a decision.
He was hurt.
Okay, Armani Rogers was hurt.
Right.
This was a decision that should have been made weeks ago.
Well, let's be honest. The decision that should have been made is Armani Rogers should have been the tight end at the beginning of the year.
I don't even want to comment on him playing.
No,
has he ever played a tight end
doesn't
before?
Make a difference. He's a plus athlete. He's 6'5", 230. He runs a 4.5. He's got good hands. Their tight end is 6'2", 240 pounds. He would do well, or even at wide receiver, he would do well there. That's what should have happened.
You can ask Tony Sanchez that question tomorrow, but I think he'll probably laugh at that.
I will absolutely ask him if he has ever considered putting Armani Rogers at either wide receiver or tight end. And I want to see what he says.
I think he'll probably laugh at that.
That's fine. He's entitled to do that.
But anyway, I'm happy for Tony Sanchez. I'm happy for UNLV. And speaking of UNLV, Mountain West Conference Basketball Media Days tomorrow. What does that mean? For those of you that don't know, well, it gives the media a chance to interview players and coaches. They converge in Las Vegas. I think they're at the Cosmo tomorrow. And so we're going to try to get some coaches on. Love to get Steve Alford on the show. We're working on that. And hope to get T.J. Altenberger on as well. That'd be great. Mountain West Conference Basketball Media Day. It's amazing that the basketball season is literally right around the corner. So we will continue to talk UNLV hoops as the season starts. And, hey, Tony Sanchez, UNLV football head coach, will be joining us on the show tomorrow. First of all, obviously what we want to do, there hasn't been a lot of positive things to talk about with the UNLV football team this year. New facilities, yes, but not a lot of wins in the win column. But certainly something to be proud of. Good win on the road. So congratulations to Tony Sanchez and the UNLV players and coaching staff. Tony Sanchez, again, will be joining us on the show tomorrow. Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to take a quick break. When we come back, I guess you could call it a controversial solo shot. I'll explain what I mean by that in the MLB playoffs last night, and it has to do with the celebration. We'll talk about that. We'll take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.